Hey guys, Sean, Leslie Liver Dummies, Nitro cartridges. So this discussion came up in the Facebook group the other day. It was sparked by a video from, I think, Taiwan, where they were using 12 gram N2 cartridges in a CO2 pistol and getting very strong and consistent shots. Now, first and foremost, I am not a gas expert, so I'm gonna dummy this down, kind of how I have been led to believe, using Google and all that stuff, how this works. Okay, so a lot of you are familiar with N2O, which is nitrous oxide. Most commonly seen in like coffee brewing type equipment, consumer level coffee brewing type equipment. It's a very stable gas. You can get it in 8, 12, 16 gram fairly easily. Its charged rate inside one of these cartridges is about 800 psi. As I said, it's very stable. It doesn't fluctuate very much, but if you have tried N2O, it loses steam really quickly comparatively to a CO2 of the same size. Now, nitrogen, N2, how this differs, it is higher pressure. So I'm going to use these two 8 grams as example. This blue kind of colored one is my nitrogen. So I'm just going to move this box out of the way for now. This 8 gram CO2 capsule has 8 grams of CO2 in it. It has a ambient temperature pressure rating, of like 800 to 850 psi. Now, as temperature goes up, these cartridges can be in excess of 1100 psi if you exceed like 100 degrees Celsius. This nitrogen cartridge is the equivalent energy to this 8 gram CO2, but there's only 2 grams of nitrogen in this 8 gram size cartridge, with a charged rate of approximately 1700 psi. So it's double the pressure rating of this CO2, but it has much less actual gas in this, nitrogen in this. 8 grams of CO2, 2 grams of nitrogen, same size cartridge. My understanding is as the cartridges go up in size, so for instance, that video, the fellow was using a 12 gram nitrogen cartridge. I'm unable to find those. Now, once you exceed this 8 gram size, this is the only size that can be used in a retail type coffee brewing equipment, because it's kind of like the pressure, the maximum pressure that type of equipment can handle. Because as you go up in size, you go up in volume, the pressure goes up. In a 12 gram nitrogen cartridge, if we could find one, Google tells me there's about 6.5 grams of nitrogen in a 12 gram cartridge. So again, this CO2 cartridge has 12 grams of CO2 inside. If you were to find this in nitrogen, it'd only have about half the capacity, half the actual amount of nitrogen in it. But that's where it starts to change a little bit, because a 12 gram nitrogen cartridge it varies 2100 to 3000, 2100, to 3600 psi. Sorry, it's morning here. It can vary based on what you're purchasing, really, and that's why you can't find it for very readily available, because any retail consumer equipment that you can buy just wouldn't handle that kind of pressure. And that's about it. I mean, that's the dummy version of it. If we can find these to try in some of our markers here, it might be worthy, it might be dangerous, I don't know. I couldn't find any, obviously. The closest I got is Alibaba. You know, if I buy 10,000 pieces for $3,400, you know, I can get my hands on 12 gram nitrogen cartridges. But at this point, all I have is the 8 gram sized cartridge with 2 grams of nitrogen in. Best I can tell, these are the same dimensions. So this is the nitrogen cartridge, 8.53 at the neck here. Well, let's just do them right in a row. This CO2 cartridge, there you go, 8.53. We'll do the length while we're here. Sorry, it's in millimeters, guys. 66.06. Let's see. So what I'm getting at is this is a standard 8 gram sized cartridge. It should fit any 8 gram sized launcher, you would think. But here's something I don't play with. It's been a long time since I played with 8 gram. So these were, what did we say? We'll just call it 8.5. This is a 12 gram cartridge, 7.2. And that's where things got strange, because I always just assumed, you know, this is an 8 gram FSC magazine was converted by Grunberg to 12 gram. Oh. The cartridge fits. But what it doesn't fit are 12 gram specific launchers. At least all the ones I have. So this is my Umarex Glock 17. This is a 12 gram cartridge. Fits in there very nicely. You can see it actually goes inside this kind of that brass retainer there, and the face of this is touching that green seal in there. Nitrogen cartridge does not. It doesn't even go inside that. And I thought that was a nitrogen cartridge problem until I measured them and actually got some 8 gram CO2. 8 gram is the same freaking thing. So, if you have a 12 gram launcher, specific launcher, 8 gram cartridges may not fit. And I have this Burna adapter that I thought I could just slap these in and away we go, but that's not the case. So, what it's boiled down to is I only have a few markers I can test it on. The Glock is out for now. Now you could modify these magazines, you know, you just ream that little brass piece out a bit so you could get your nitrogen in there, but reserve any of those crazy ideas until I go test fire this. I'm gonna start with assault. It was my easiest answer because in these types of, like the Umarex style pierce mechanisms, the pierce pins in the bottom, I know you can't see it, oh, there we go. So it's not really an issue. It fits right in there, no problem. The one problem I did have, you're gonna see, I'm gonna dump all these, they're just some plastic washers. Oh, I had to use those because this is a Burna adapter, so it's meant to. This was given to me by Merciless Lethal. It comes with this kit, anyways, for the Burna SD. Drop that in. Drop in my 8 gram. Not even close. It will not thread. And the same goes for if I just use a regular CO2 cart. It's the same problem. See what I'm getting at? It's not just as simple as what everybody thought. So I had to use all these spacers. I'm just gonna drop them in there to get the sizing just right so this thing would puncture. Drop it in. So that is a nitro cartridge, 1700 PSI with 2 grams of nitrogen inside. Where did I do the lid? There we go, the lid, the cap. Seated down nice. Oh, gotta get some projectiles. Heard that pop. She's locked and loaded. Well, not loaded yet, but I'm gonna toss some 9.9 Canada riot balls in here. And let's show you what it does. Totally forgot to do was confirm the actual pressure of this N2 cartridge. So I'm gonna just use one of these AliExpress rigs. I can use the Burna adapter in this. I did confirm this 8 gram neck will fit in this puncture pin. So what I'm going to do here, gauge is at 0, slide check is locked. I'm going to put it in here first, and then screw it in. Just screw that in just in case. All right, let's puncture. Oh, this only goes to 1500. Dope. Well, that'll at least tell us if 1700 was a good number. Oops. Not gonna make it. Not gonna make it. Turns out it just punctured, and it just isn't making a good seal on this. I think the pin on this it's pretty large, and the opening on this might be smaller than a standard 12 gram, but try number 2. Try the Rune Rebel trick, put some Teflon tape on there, and I am going to crank on it this time. Gauge is at 0. Well, it made a seal. I lost a lot of gas, but hey, that's way more than I would ever see on a CO2. So I'm gonna venture to guess it probably is 15 to 1700 PSI at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So we got the 9.9 gram riot balls all loaded up. Nitro carts punctured. Prepare to be razzled and dazzled. $194. $142. Not even fast enough for the chrono. We are out for example. Here is a 12 gram CO2 in my salt. That's a Humerax 12 gram too. let me load up some rye balls. Rye balls, 12 gram CO2. $2.20. $2.14. $2.16. $2.14. Wow, the salt's consistent today. Oh, there we go. That was the last shot anyways, I think. Yeah. Now, to just briefly touch on what happened. Oh yeah, I should show you guys just to show you that the cartridge did puncture. So that's a 12 gram puncture. Come on, Bogus. There we go. And the nitro cart. A little bit smaller puncture, but punctured nonetheless. Wasn't gonna make any difference. 12 grams of CO2 expanding into a large area leaves lots of CO2 to continue to expand that area as you fire. 2 grams of nitrogen trying to fill the same large area is not enough to volumize this. Essentially, there's not enough nitrogen in here. There's 2 grams in here. I wish I could test the 12 grams. I mean, there may be some merit to these cartridges. Umarex has that new complete rifle where they have the 88 gram, 90 gram sized nitro air, they call it, N2. It's 3600 PSI. But if you read the description, it's a 90 gram cart with 32 grams of nitrogen in it. A 90 gram CO2 cart has 90 grams of CO2. So how will these other cartridges behave? I don't know. But at this point, nitro is pretty much dead in the water at 8 gram for me. Now, in a smaller volume launcher, this may have some worth, but this is showing me it doesn't. I mean, this is where it's at for me. In a small volume valve like the Umarex, it may show something, but I'd have to modify my last stock mag to use this. I'm not ready to do that yet. Because I need that mag as a test bed, essentially. I can't mess everything up, guys. I gotta keep something so I have some baselines. Hey, you know what? Let's try it. So I can't use the nitro in this magazine because the adapter that I wanted to use it just doesn't work. And I don't think stacking it's not unsafe Sunday again yet, guys. I don't think stacking these inside here, well, actually, you know what, it wouldn't work anyways because this screw would go right up there. So I don't think stacking these inside there is a viable option. I do have my quick puncture FSC magazine. It has a Umarex tube in it, so we are going to try the nitro in there because I haven't tried it in the FSC yet. I suspect it's gonna do exactly the same thing and just pretty much fall on its face after, well, even the first shot is much weaker than any CO2 cart that we are accustomed to using. I don't have another, oh yeah, no, never mind. I thought I took them inside. Nitro cart. FSC magazine. Might have put too many of those washers in. It kind of looks like it right now. You know what, we're gonna use the salt cap. Just so I can, nope, too many washers in there. So I'm gonna take one of those, out of there. Come on. Nitro card inside. Guess I gotta put some balls in there. All right, well, I only put 4 9.9 grams in there because the salt only really fired 4. It punctured. Does it behave any different? $288. For reference, this pistol with a 12 gram CO2 in it, set up like this, shoots well over 300. $252. $208. $134. And that was it. And that's it for the video. Nitro may have some use, but not in the 8 gram. Hey, if you guys find the 12 gram out there and when those N2 nitro air cartridges from Umarex become available to me here, I will most definitely try, but that's just how it's gonna be. CO2.